Silence is supposed to be the best way to achieve focus. No distractions, no noise, just you and your thoughts. So why is it that so many people focus better in a busy coffee shop than in a perfectly silent room? If silence was really the solution, this wouldn't make sense. But for a huge number of people it does. And the reason has almost nothing to do with the noise itself. You've probably felt the other side of this. You sit down in total silence, finally ready to focus. And within a minute, you notice a clock ticking somewhere. Then the fridge kicks on in the other room. Then a floorboard randomly creaks. And suddenly, those are the only things you can hear. None of those sounds were new. They were always there. Silence didn't remove them. It just stopped covering them up. Which means the quiet room was never actually quiet. It just made every small random sound land harder, one at a time. So if it's not really about silence versus noise, what is it actually about? Turns out, your brain doesn't care that much how loud a sound is. What it cares about is whether the sound is predictable. A perfectly silent room sounds peaceful, but it's actually not ideal. Because in true silence, every sound that does slip through is sudden, random, and impossible to predict. Your brain treats every one of those like a potential alarm. A steady hum, on the other hand, coffee shop chatter, a fan, white noise, gives your brain one continuous, unchanging signal it can stop paying attention to. And that's the thing that actually frees you up to focus. So the real question isn't noise or silence. It's this: what is your brain actually built to react to? And that's where it gets interesting. Deep in your brainstem is a small network called the reticular activating system. Its entire job is alertness, deciding, moment to moment, what deserves your attention and what doesn't. And it's old. It evolved for a world where a sudden sound usually meant something. A branch snapping, a predator, danger. So it's wired to flag change, not steady states. A sound that stays the same gets filed as safe. A sound that shifts gets flagged as worth checking. That's the actual mechanism behind background noise. A steady sound, like the ambient hum of a coffee shop, acts like a blanket. It doesn't add distraction. It hides the small, unpredictable sounds that would otherwise keep tripping your alarm system. Silence doesn't make that noise go away. It just means there's nothing covering it, so every stray sound stands out, completely on its own. But there's a limit. Researchers have tested this directly, playing white noise at different volumes while people did focused work. At a quiet volume, attention and creativity improved, with no added stress. Turn it up too far, and that benefit reversed. Performance dropped on most tasks, and stress increased. Loud noise doesn't behave like a blanket anymore. It becomes its own alarm. So the solution was never silence, and it was never volume either. It's a narrow, specific zone in between. There's one more piece. Not everyone needs the same amount of that steady sound to get there. Some brains, including many with ADHD, tend to run at a lower baseline level of alertness. For them, a bit of external noise isn't a distraction at all. It's what nudges their attention up into the zone where focus actually happens. The same hum that's merely pleasant for one person might be doing real cognitive work for someone else. So if you've spent years feeling like silence should help you concentrate, and instead it's only ever made you restless, that was never a focus problem. And it was never a discipline problem either. It just means your attention system needs a floor of stimulation before it can settle, something comforting and steady to stand on. That's not a flaw in how you're built. It's a fairly ordinary feature of how attention actually works. Most people are just never told that the mechanism runs on predictability, not on the absence of sound. If this is you, here's what the research actually points to help maximize focus and attention. Match the noise to the task. A textureless sound, like white or brown noise, rain, or a fan, works well for deep, focused work. On the other hand, music with lyrics tends to compete with tasks that involve language, like writing or reading, and keep the volume lower than feels intuitive. The benefit shows up around a quiet, conversational level. Louder isn't more effective. It just trades one kind of disruption for another. So now you know, your brain was never asking for silence. It was asking for something steady enough to stop bracing for the next sound.